Welcome, welcome. Welcome to today's Achieve, Elevate Your Business Mastermind call. And we're going to talk about handling objections today. I'm going to get started because there's a lot to cover. I may cover handling objections in one session or two. We'll see. You'll know by the end of this session. And if it's in if there is a second session, I'll make sure to let you know and point you to that. Okay. So I have some slides. There's a lot of content today. It's going to be recorded. I recommend listening again, and you'll see why. All right. So how to handle objections. That's what today is all about. As a reminder, before the calls, during the calls, and after the calls. So we're talking about sales calls, high end in particular. So you want to be all in on your offer. You want to embody the results you offer. You want a reliable sales system. And if you're not sure how to do any of this, go back to the training in the Achieve Resource Center, and there's a training on each one of these. So then after the sales calls, we'll talk about later about follow-up, referrals, and testimony. And then after handling objections, I'm going to teach you guys some nuances about future casting and how to really help people move forward towards their dreams faster. Okay, and that's really what we're about here, is getting people fired up to move forward to get the life that they want. Sell, 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 and all will be well, well, well. Remember that. All right, take a moment and ask yourself, when you hold the vision of your potential client higher than they can, what happens? So somebody has a vision, but they don't always hold it, right? They kind of lose it. They're in and out of it. Oh, I want this, but I'm not sure if I can have it. What if you were to hold the vision of your potential client higher than they can sometimes? What would be different in your life and in their life? Think about it, share in the chat if you want. But this is really a powerful question that I want you to really consider over and over and over and over and over and over. What if you were the one to hold their vision for them until they can? That's what's possible through handling objections. So prior to enrollment, prior to really getting in these conversations, you want to get present and grounded in your body. We've talked about this before, but I'm going to remind you some things that are very important, because handling objections is one of the hardest parts about sales. And so we're going to really dive into, what do you need to do? Who do you need to be to even be able to handle these objections? Listen deeply with an open heart. Make sure your body is open. Have integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. Value. Give a lot. Be generous, not overworking, but generous. Big results, and then say this out loud, even if nobody cares, I'm offering with excitement. Even if nobody cares, I'm offering with excitement. And I want this for you because you've spent a lot of time and energy and money on creating what you're creating and offering. So offer with excitement. It doesn't matter if anybody else is excited about it. The best marketing is excitement. The reason we're all here together is because Robert Reams is freaking excited about what he does, and everybody else around him is as well. And this is what I'm talking about. Don't diminish yourself by any means. What you have is amazing. While handling objections, so we've talked about the sales conversation, what to say and how to lead people through this, this where they are now, where they want to be, what's getting in the way, and the vision, feeling the vision, this in sales. But when it gets to this point is usually when you get weird. And so breathe. I call objection stories. We're going to talk about those in a minute. Keep it simple. Don't start talking a bunch. Just relax, breathe. You're going to trigger emotions. If you're not okay with people being emotional, you need some practice, and we can help you here, but you have to be, because they're going to be. They're scared, or they're excited, or they're all over the place. So just know that it's not you. It's just, it's their stories. Be authentic, fully be real. Don't do this, ring around the rosy anything. To be straightforward with people. They can feel it anyways. Be brave. It's very courageous to hold space for people and to move them through objections if they want to. Be bold. most of you guys, if you've had a conversation with me, you know I'm going to say something pretty bold. And it's loving. It's not about being like calling people out. It's calling people in. Like, hey, you got this. You can do this. What if something else? What if there was another truth? Be honest, which is pretty clear, but we have to put that forward because we've all been in sales conversations where somebody said something. You're like, I don't know if that feels true. So be very honest, and then judgment free. No matter what happens. It's all good in the hood. Everything's going to work out. You're going to be taken care of, no matter if it's that person or somebody else. So you got to stay really judgment free, no attachment to any sort of outcome here. So that's the next piece. Huge. No judgment, no attachment to the outcome. Be in full service to your people when you're handling objections. I'm going to show you how in a little bit, but these are the underpinnings of who you are as a person before you go into it, because they'll feel you. If you're like needing them as your client, or like judging them because what they're saying, they'll feel it. So you have to be in full service. You have to also understand that you are adding value to their life. You're not taking anything away by by enrolling them and them paying you. You're not taking anything away from them. No matter what they think, no matter what your story is, you're not. You're adding value to their life. You're a blessing, not a burden. Payments can feel like a burden. You're not a burden. You're a blessing. You also want them to make decisions for themselves. And so that's why I'm going to show you how to do this in a really beautiful way that's empowering. It's not about like changing people's minds. It's opening the mind so that they can choose for themselves, like we talked about last time with sales. And you do not want them to have buyer's remorse. So we don't push anybody. We don't guilt, judge, shame, any of that stuff. And I know you guys are here because you're big-hearted people. I know you wouldn't do that. But I just want to give you this perspective of where I'm coming from to teach you, is that we want to really empower people through these objections so that they feel like they made the decision and there's no buyer's remorse. Okay, nothing's personal. Write that down. Nothing is personal. It's not about you. Whatever they say, it's not about you. It's about them. Everybody's living and doing something in their life. Lots of things in their life, and they have ideas based upon their own experience. It's not you, it's them. Now, I will tell you, if you were in judgment and you were attached to the outcome, if you didn't do any of the other stuff, it's you. If you don't have value in your offer, it's you. But if you do all that other stuff, it's not you. Show up in integrity, show up in value, show up in truth, in service. And it's okay. You can feel good about where you are and be in service and not take anything personal, okay? You just want to think to yourself, how do you help them with their own experience more? That's it. Even if they say no, you want to be in service. I've had people sign up, or, you know, I share this a lot, but I've had people like sign up with me after I've offered them 5 times, 7 times. One person I offered to like 10 times over a 3-year period before she signed up. But she kept having a call with me and knew that I was going to make an offer and wasn't ready. But because the way I handled it all, once she was ready, I was her person. And that's what it is with objections, because people have a lot of guilt and shame. And so if you're supportive and loving during the objections, you're their person. Even if it's not that day, it will be when they're ready. So be there for your people. And handling objections is a really beautiful way to be there for them in non-judgment. So take a breath and really just get into your body and listen to what I'm about to share, because this is a practice for you to do now so you can use it on your sales conversations. So you want to know, here's where we're going to dive in. What are your stories? What are your objections? La, 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 la. This is the fancy part. The mirror, the mirror here, the person with the mirror. You need to know your stories, your objections, if you're going to sell well. And I'm going to give you guys some homework at the end of this if you want, to play. But you need to really identify what yours are if you're going to sell. Because if you get told stories that they're the same as yours, you're going to fall into them and nobody's going to move anywhere. You're all just going to be in an old story. And so let's really dive into self first before you start to handle the objections of others. Okay. All right. Long list of stuff. Very, very important here. I'm going to read it all aloud. Like I said, this is available in a recording later. If you want to write it down, you want to listen. You make more offers when you know your stories. You'll offer more people. You'll tell more people, hey, you want my stuff? It's awesome. Visa or MasterCard. Because you know the fears. You're not scared of their fears because you've cleared your own fears, or at least you're aware of them. Maybe you haven't cleared them yet, but the awareness is 90% of it. You do not feel rejected because you see them as stories. It's not personal. Okay. You need to know your stories if you have rejection challenges. You can convert more clients. Well, don't we all want that? Because you have more compassion, basically. When they can feel you from your heart, when you know your own stories, you own them, you love yourself, despite your stories, you have compassion for others and their story, and you can support them and love them, not take it personal, just no judgment. It's powerful energy. You are of highest service because you're going forward with them, even though they're telling you a story. A lot of people make the offer, you hear a no, you never hear from them again. What does that say? I don't want you guys to work like that. I want you to know that sales is more of a, it's a way to create a meaningful relationship with somebody, even if they don't buy. So this is really, really powerful to keep a relationship going, is to make an offer and help them through objections. And you can help people finally, after a lifetime even sometimes, move forward through their patterns. If they didn't believe they could do something and then now they step in and they believe they can, it could be huge. And we all know that. Every single person on this call helps people move through life, patterns, and sometimes generational patterns. So I'll give you an example here. Because my coaches have helped me move through my money stories, my poverty stories, my monk, money ain't spiritual stories, I have been able to break generational patterns of education, of money, of happiness, honestly. And so this is powerful work, and I take it very seriously. You can see, because it's not about the money and the business even. It's about the possibility on the other side of shifting, of expanding, of really believing in self for your clients and for yourself. Honestly, it really can change your life. So let's talk here. How your stories get in the way of enrolling a new client. You may not believe you can help somebody. So maybe you're in the place where you can, but you might have been at a time in your business you could remember even where you thought that. You're like, can I really help somebody? So you really got to, trust that if there's something calling you to do this, you can help somebody. You got to be all in, you got to be high integrity and offer a lot of value, but you can help people. If you're anywhere and somebody's one step behind you, you can help them. Come on, babe. I'll hold your hand. I'll light the fire, whatever it is. So you can help people. You might think to yourself, all the stories, I don't have the money. I need to talk to my husband, and I'm all about, you'll see in a second, I'm all about relationship. I'm not saying don't talk to your husband, but I'm saying don't use your people as excuse for diminishing yourself. Talk to your husband and help empower you, So we don't want to use other things for excuses for not going forward for what we want. And if we're doing that in our own life, it's harder to support people. Okay. So we really want to feel into what are our own stories. Like you might have somebody, I don't want to be, you might be scared to be seen, or you might feel like you're too much. I mean, there's all these things that people, have stories about, and you just want to know yours so that you can see the reflection and support others. It's huge. You might be afraid someone won't like you if you question their story. You might be like, ooh, that's kind of confrontational. Yes, it is. But if you're doing it in a loving, non-judgmental way where you're not attached to the outcome, it will work. and it'll be fine. And they'll appreciate you, because I'm going to teach you how to do it in a second, but you're with them because they're wanting something. They're wanting to be led into something. Questioning their stories in a really loving way helps them see that you are their leader. It helps them see that you see them and understand them and want more for them, and that you can actually hold their vision higher than they can sometimes. And that's the kind of leader that they want. So practice doing this and feel your leadership qualities grow. It's really cool. So don't let your stories stop you from selling. Don't let your stories stop you from serving. We all have stories. I have stories. Every single person does. It's okay. Work through them, through serving, through selling. You'll see that a lot of your own stories will start to dissolve as you start supporting others as well. All right, so we're going to dive in, and these are not all of the objections, but a lot of the objections are going to be covered here. I'm going to go through them kind of quick. Like I said, there's the recording later if you need this, but I would recommend becoming a master at this. It's going to take you, I would say, at least 200 sales conversations to become a master at this. But the more you practice, the better you get, and just commit to it for your business journey. You know, get good at it. Like, get so good where you could do it in your sleep. It's like, whatever. You could just do it like you're on the river, you know, in a canoe or something. I don't know. Like, it's no big deal. You got this. Until you have that, work toward it. Become a master at supporting people through their objections. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to go through these. You see there's a bunch here. I'm going to go through them for sake of time. I want to say you need to assume the sale, assume the enrollment. Unless they're 100% no, I don't want it. If they're no, I don't want it, like, back off. But usually if you're talking to somebody, they want it, you know, it's like that's why you're there together. There's no accident. Not always, but mostly. So, you know, until they're like, I'm 100% no, I never want it, I'm not at all interested. Keep going, keep offering. Why not? Especially if you're inspired by them and want to work with them. A follow-up. We'll talk more about follow-up in weeks later, and keep offering. Okay. Number one, I don't have the money. This is the biggest one, and this is the biggest one you need to learn how to get people through. It's not about pushing people and making people sign up. It's just about opening the minds. It's never, ever, ever about the money. It's priorities. It's what they value. So you want to get to the point of what we said last time about the vision, embodying the vision, feeling the vision. How bad do they want that? How bad do they want their pleasure island, the results, after they're done with it all? So if you didn't get to a good pleasure island, a feeling state of the future vision, they're not going to want to pay you money to get there, because they're not going to, it's like sort of etheric, you know, it needs to be more grounded in the feeling state. So you can ask them, like, well, how bad do you want that 6-figure business? How bad do you want that relationship? How bad do you want to let go of the anger you have for your mother, or whatever it is that you're working on? How bad do you want to lose the 30 pounds? There's no judgment. I will say that to people. There's no judgment. I have no attachment to your life. I'm just wanting to know. On a scale of 1 to 10, I actually just did this earlier with a client. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want this business? And it's okay to ask that stuff. Step in, ask them. Let them feel into it. Open the door for your client, your potential client, to see what's possible. Okay. I don't have the money. So you just ask them how much of a priority it is on a scale of 1 to 10. If they say they don't have the money and you're the kind of person who has a payment plan, you might say, well, how much can you put down? And I'll offer you a payment plan. Because sometimes people are like, well, I don't have it all, but I could have it all next Friday. And they'll say no today, and they won't even tell you that piece. until you move forward and keep asking questions. So just ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. If they still don't enroll, a couple of things, there might not be enough vision. Like I said, you've got to get vision, 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 vision. If you're not good at vision, get good at vision and then get good at objections. There might not be enough trust. They might have trust issues. They might not trust you. You might not trust your own abilities. Something about trust is maybe an issue there. And they just might not trust that they're going to do the work. So some people have like tried something and it hasn't succeeded, or they haven't stayed committed. And if that's the case, if they've signed up for something before and didn't stay committed, they might not trust themselves to stay committed to this thing. It's a very typical, like, oh, I don't want to start this because I might quit again. So just know that that might be there. And so you can support them through that. Now, right now, as I'm talking, notice your breath. Soften your belly and breathe steady. So you'll want to revisit your breath in your belly through your objections, because that's where we can get tight and nervous. So just as a reminder, relax. So I'm going to go over a couple more here. My credit cards are maxed out. Ask them, if you had the money, would you want to enroll first? Because would you want to buy this? Would you want to sign up? Because if they say yes, then you can keep going. If they're like, no, this isn't really my thing, there's no point in opening a conversation about the money. So if you had the money, would you want this thing? Yes. Okay. Then another question, ask for permission. Would you like to open a conversation about how to find the money? I tell people, I say, hey, I get it. I'm expensive. I get it. Let's talk. Let's throw some ideas around. I'm open. No pressure, no attachment. But if you want some ideas about how to get the money, right, we can have a conversation. Whether you choose to or not, it's up to you. So just open, make it not so judgy and them feeling shameful about not having it. Because if they don't have the money, they might feel like, oh, I don't have the money. I don't want to tell them. Just open questions, open more and more and more. This is where the money is. The objections is where the money is. Would you like to hear some ideas on how to get the money? Okay. Open. Here are some ideas. And then you can go through, I listed a bunch. You can come up with some own ideas with them, but they can get, friends, family members, loans, sell stuff that's in the house. Maybe they got something in the house they've been wanting to get rid of, and they just need to put it on eBay, need to take it to the, Craigslist or consignment. They could get another credit card, PayPal. One of their credit cards could expand their limit, a line of credit. They could use their 401k. I'm not telling people what to do. We're just opening the minds for possibility. That's it. They could sell a program, a package, some sort of product. I tell people to do this all the time. I'm like, go out there and get a client. You can afford me, I'll tell them exactly how to do it too. And so it's up to you if you want to do this, but you might be scared to do this if you're not willing to do this yourself. If you've never played in the money game and expanded yourself and had to borrow money or do something, you might not be equipped to do this. Okay. So I want to give you that. I've played in the money game. I've done all sorts of stuff over the years. And so I'm not really scared of taking a loan out or something, because I know I can make the money and pay it back like that. If you don't believe in yourself to make the money, it's going to be hard to tell other people that they can do it too. So I just want to be mindful of telling you that. You want to be mindful of your stories as at the same time you're telling other people, opportunities that can help them, because they may not trust or believe you if you don't believe it yourself. Okay. So we're going to stop there, and we're going to go over the rest of the stories and future casting next time. So I'm going to give you a little piece of homework to do before next time, is ask yourself if you recognize any of these stories so far. And the next time you'll learn some more. But, do you ever feel like, oh, I wish I could do something, but I can't because I don't have the money? Write it down, capture it. And then what you're going to do is, I'm going to have you do this next week too. But then the second step is, I'm just going to show you guys. It's here. Step 1, make a list of your own stories, objections. You'll learn more next time. Step 2, write out. How would you respond? What would you say to yourself, to someone who said what you said to you about your objection? What would you say back? I've given you some tools already, and I'm going to give you some more next time. But this is powerful. If you can identify your own stories, you can help people through their stories. But if you can't identify yours, you can't help them through theirs. You'll fall into it and be like, oh, I know, it's okay. You can't do it, shall we? And then nobody gets anywhere. So this is a powerful practice if you choose to do it. All right. So I'm going to come out and see what you guys put in the chat. Yeah. So if you guys held your vision higher than your clients, you bring them so much impact by being a rock for them that you'd reel them in. That's hot language. Yeah. I mean, it's spot on. You would take them to up higher with you. Exactly. Ooh, that's so good. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea, is bring our clients up to our level and then even further, boost them further. Right. I love that. That jazzes me up. Can you tell I got real loud right there? This is where I learned so much from you, how you handle my objections. I'm curious, do you want to share more? I'm sure probably everybody else would get something out of it.
Sure. So most of you know that I've worked with Lila. I hired Lila and I would suggest everybody does. But that aside from the point, part of when I was looking for a coach, I was actively looking for a coach, and I spoke to multiple people, multiple women specifically, because I was looking for a female coach because my husband is my male coach, right? But the real reason, I mean, I loved Lila from the beginning and she was always in the back of my mind as an option. But the real reason I hired her is because of the way she handled my objections. And what was most valuable there for me that I want to share with everybody is that it was the compassion together with the direct honesty that really made the connection for me. So it was getting that real truth, but at the same time, there was compassion and there was advice on how to go forward to get past my own objections. So, you know, Lila, since then, I've spoken to a lot of clients who's had those objections, and I've handled it in the way I do because of the way you handled me. And so for me, that was a huge light bulb moment.
It's beautiful. So I just want to repeat that so everybody kind of captures it for your own experience, your own calls. It's the bold truth, compassion, and advice.
The solution. You gave me the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we want to do for people to really support them. Like, we got to be there for our peeps. The money piece, we all know the game. We all know the money game. People are scared. It's a survival thing. It's a fight. It triggers fight or flight. So we want to be there for people. And we got to be there for ourselves first, right? To be able to support others, to be that rock, like Joey said. That's great. You guys have any questions? Okay. If you're here next week, you know, we're going to do the rest of the handling objections. I'm literally giving you language that I use. It's like, just use it and it works. And I've had all sorts. It's not just me, it's my clients too. So it works. And then also future casting, which is, I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun doing. It's going to help you continue basically to help people with that vision piece. The vision piece is the most important part of the sales conversation in terms of, you know, if they don't have that, all the rest of it's kind of hard to handle and implement and move them forward. So it's super fun. And what I would say is, if you're a speaker, want to be a speaker, or even just use marketing language anywhere, future casting is how you help people see the value of what you're offering, no matter what platform you're on. So it's a really valuable training, and highly recommend future casting. All right, friends. I'll see y'all next week. Happy Thanksgiving. Fill your bellies up. Love on people. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Lila.
Yeah, thanks, Dawn, for being here. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye, Vanessa.